going to take you on my first adventure attempting to take pictures of boats going over the horizon. I've been in Korea for about 2 months now, not too far from the coastline, so this is my first attempt with a telephoto lens to actually see what ships look like as they are getting closer and moving farther away over the ocean. So right now I live here in Daegu. It is about an hour-and-a-half drive down to Busan, and Busan is one of the busiest ports in the world. It's amazing how many ships are down there. But when you take into account for the fact that South Korea literally has no land mass for importing anything, you can understand why. And you can also see that Busan is right across the sea from Japan, which is one of the prime reasons why I wanted to go down there, because someday I'm hoping, if the weather's clear enough, that I might actually be able to get some shots of the mountains in Japan in that area. So if we zoom in here, I'll take you to the spot that I shot from today. You can see all of these ports down here, and like I said, this is an extremely busy port. Where I was at was right here. Not sure the name of it, but it's a beach type area. There is a tourist attraction down here with a lighthouse and an observatory. You can take like a shuttle car out there to it. That was my original intent, but there's really not too much good observing out there. And then you can see these islands out here that'll come into play in a little bit. And another goal I'd had for the day was to shoot the sunset, because over here's some higher peaks, and the sun was supposed to set directly behind these peaks. But for today's purposes, that did not pan out because the weather did not play along. So if we go into the port where I was at, and you can already see all of these ships. Most of these are moored out here waiting to get into port. Where I actually observed from, it's right there. We'll zoom in and go to the beach. This isn't a sandy beach, it's a very rocky beach, and it's fairly steep. Not too bad. This is about a 10-15 foot drop of steps, and then down here is the water line. Now, I mentioned those islands out a little ways, and I want to show you something. Right in here, there is a lighthouse, or a buoy light. I'm not sure exactly what you would call it. So you can see that. I could see that from the shoreline. And I've got a couple pictures I'll show you right here. Alright, so if we take a measurement of the distance between these 2 points, I apologize for using miles. This lighthouse is just over 7 miles away. And now, as you can see from the curve calculator, that fits about right to what we should be seeing. And when you compare the curve calculator and this shot here, everything fits in. It's about what's right. This lighthouse is about at my sight line, or about at the horizon line. And for anyone who hasn't actually used the curve calculator before, this is an online application you can use at multiple different sites. You put in how high you are and how far away the object you're looking at is. And this will tell you what your horizon line is, how far you can see out. Now, obviously, this is different for land masses and mountains, but on the ocean, this is how far the actual ocean's edge is away that you can physically see. And it also shows you what is hidden from the object you're pointed at. And with this lighthouse, you can see it's telling me nothing is hidden because it is inside my horizon. So anything out past that, in theory, should get cut off a little bit by the curvature of the Earth. Here's a video I shot of a ship coming into harbor. I wish I would caught it earlier, but the lens that I've got is only a 300mm lens, so it's not as crazy as the P900 or the P1000. But you can see this ship coming into harbor. So let's watch this video again, but I want you to pay close attention to the top of this tower and to the horizon line. And you can see this is a very crisp horizon line thanks to the angle of the sun. The sun is pretty much directly behind this boat at a high altitude, so you can get that really nice glint to see where the water is and where it ends. And you can also see the haze in the background because it's just a very hazy day from smog. So pay attention to that red line. That red line is the starting point of that upper mass. You can see that upper mass keeps going up and up and up because the object is getting closer to us, and that is what you'd expect with an object getting closer to you. But it's not until about right now that you see the bottom of the ship starting to go down. Before that, it stayed in place. Let's go back and take a look at that. You can see right here, we don't have any downward motion of this as if it's an object coming closer to you, like a ball coming at you. Until about here. And now you can start to see that gap. The gap between the hull line and the horizon line. And that gap just keeps getting larger and larger, but not much. Not compared to this. Look at the gap between here. And if you don't believe me that there isn't that much of a difference, as we get down to here, you can see that horizon line. That is the original starting point of the lower part of the hull. That is the difference. That is how much hull has grown due to proximity, because the ship got closer to us. That is how much the upper hull, the upper mast, has grown due to proximity because the ship getting closer to us. That growth is not equal, and it should be. If you had a ball coming towards you and you drew a line through the center of that ball, and you drew lines on the tops of the ball, as it came towards you in a linear motion, both of those gaps would expand equally because the entire object gets closer to you all at the same time. But from back here, for a certain part of time, it's not that this isn't getting closer to you, it's that you can't see it because it's blocked. Blocked by the curvature of the Earth. And that's how it ends. This would be the same as if a basketball coming towards you, again with a line drawn through the center of that basketball, and the upper portion of that basketball got bigger when compared to the bottom portion of that basketball. But that is not how perspective works. As an object gets closer to you, the entire object gets closer to you. There's another observation that I'd really like to show you, but I'm trying to keep these videos well below 10 minutes, and I needed a little more time to explain that one. So that video will come out tomorrow. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Mash the little bell button to get notifications, and tell a friend if you think this content is worth it. I'll see you tomorrow.